Hey guys, everyone's day is going well. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Melatonin from ilinx Toys. This is a very irregular yo-yo, but also a really fun one, so I'm super excited to be doing this review. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. Alrighty, so first things first, I gotta give a quick shout out to Ross. He is actually the owner of ilinx Toys for actually sending me this yo and making this entire video possible. All of his links and company information will be in the description down below, so be sure to check him out after the end of this video. Now, this yo right here is pretty irregular, so it's really important that we look at the specs first and foremost, and then from there we'll dive into the actual design of this yo. So here are the specs. Alright, so as you saw there, the specs of this yo are definitely pretty irregular. So starting with the width there, this is definitely a very narrow yo-yo, but the shape of it makes actually a decently large gap width. Now moving on over to the diameter is actually a little bit more on the normal side. However, because of this really kind of narrow design, it makes the diameter seem a whole lot larger. Now, real quick, I do have a couple notes from Ross actually as to the purpose of this yo and kind of what this yo is all about. So let me read those off to you really quick. All right, so the design of the melatonin is inspired by the hormone melatonin and its sedative effects. So the rims kind of pill outward and the curves of the hub flow in like a billowed sheet. That's really cool. The form is a little bit smaller and slimmer than average, but will fit very comfortably in your pocket. This yo is made of 6061 aluminum and it said it's best enjoyed with a glass of warm milk. That's funny. So the sales of this yo actually are going to support his very own podcast, which is called Kill Your Yo-Yo. So this yo itself is really special. So let's talk a little bit about the actual design of the melatonin. So looking on over to the shape, this is definitely a very interesting shape. So like I said, statistically, this yo is a little bit more on the narrow side. However, the gap itself is decently large. It's got these kind of very round rims and then just a singular linear slope that leads down to the bearing. So it's definitely a very interesting kind of like V shape that we have here, but those rims are definitely kind of rounded over. Now moving on over to the actual cup, this is where things get interesting. We can see that the rim itself is definitely very thick, which is going to contribute to some more stable play. However, it kind of slopes down, has a nice curve in there, and then it leads down to a kind of really interesting cup. It's got a dimple in there that's almost raised up, if that makes sense. I'll show some close-up shots, but I could best relate this to actually the design of the hummingbird, the cup of the hummingbird, where it has that kind of interesting cup. This is going to be a really nice spot to do finger spins, so I'm super excited to talk more about that later on in the video. But in general, the design of this yo is definitely pretty unique. It's a very kind of fun feeling yo in the hand. It's definitely undersized in regards to the width, and it fits nicely in the pocket. But I can tell that this yo is definitely going to pack a powerful punch just because of that kind of really strong rim presence that they have right there. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about how the melatonin plays on the string. As you might have guessed, guys, with a very unique shape and kind of design, this yo plays very unique on the string. This yo definitely has a lot of power. It's definitely concentrated in those rims right there, and you can feel it right when you throw it down. But this yo also is definitely a little bit more on the fun size. I wouldn't say this is like your more ideal competition yo, just because the design and shape isn't super accommodating for some of the most insanely extreme, speed tricks or anything like that. And on that topic, this is definitely not a super like fast yo-yo, I would say, but it's kind of right in the middle. I wouldn't say it's like super fast, I wouldn't say it's super slow. I'm just saying that this isn't like the most ideal competition yo. But this is definitely a good performing fun yo-yo. And what I mean by that is it definitely feels fun on the string. When you catch it back to your hand, it's nice and comfortable and it just feels very unique. However, it actually is a decent performer. It has a lot of rim weight and a whole lot of stability. And so when you're doing your tricks, you'll be shocked as to how long this thing can actually last. Now, I think what really makes this yo most unique and is kind of what is really interesting with this yo-yo is kind of its momentum. It's kind of hard to describe, but when you're playing with this yo, you'll notice that it doesn't exactly move, I guess, in the way that your standard yo would move. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's that shape, the design, or the specs of this yo-yo, but in general, it just is a very unique feeling yo. It's unlike anything I've really played before, and I think that the design is just very interesting. Now, if we're talking more about kind of whips, slacks, and all that stuff, I'd say this yo is decent. It doesn't have the widest shape in the world. It's definitely accommodating, but again, this is just a very slim yo-yo. So I wouldn't say it's like the best in the world for that, but it can definitely handle them. Now, in regards to grinds, this yo has a very smooth matte finish all around it. It's definitely good for finger grinds, palm grinds, especially good for thumb and talon grinds since it has a nice little lip and ridge there. And then finger spins with this yo are amazing. If you can lock into that nice little dimple in the middle, it just feels so good and satisfying. They can spin for such a long time, as you can see there, and it's so much fun to do. All right, but that's about it for my review. In conclusion, this is a really solid kind of fun yo-yo. I wouldn't say it's the best performer in the world. It's not your insane competition yo-yo, but it's definitely a slimmer design and it has a really cool feeling of momentum to it, and it really is nice and comfortable to catch back in your hand. This yo-yo is fun, and it also does spin for a shockingly large amount of time because of that nice added rim weight. I think the unique design design just makes this a very special yo-yo in anyone's collection, and it's kind of one of those refreshing yo-yos to pick up if you're ever tired of just the same boring competition yo-yos that we've all seen. All right, and that concludes my review of the Melatonin. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. Also, if you guys are new here and haven't seen my videos before, hit that subscribe button so you can see whenever I post a new video. I want to thank Ross and ilinx Toys one more time for making this entire video possible and sending me this throw. Be sure to check their stuff out after this video. All right, that's about it. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.